now I can hear you. All right. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, everybody. Today we have a webinar series by CDAE. Before we start the session, all right, I would like to remind you all to mute all your mics, and then if the CPD points will be given to you if you attend the webinar fully via WebEx only, yeah? All right, via WebEx only, and you need to complete the feedback form. The link will be given at the end of the webinar and it's active for 30 minutes only, all right? Training by CDAE does not require you to fill in the e-survey form in my CPD portal, all right? So you don't need to fill in the survey form in my CPD portal. All right. If you have any question, please write a letter Q and then ask the question in the chat box. All right. Okay. So I am Azida. All right. The moderator for today. So thank you. We in CDE would like to thank Dr. Fazila who is able to do a sharing session with us today, this morning. All right, thank you, Dr. Fazila. She is actually a very busy lecturer, one of the busy lecturers in PIP. She is one of the lecturers who has a very high hours of teaching in PPIP, all right? She is from School of Educational Studies, USM, all right? And then she has been teaching in USM since 2006. Yep. Isn't it, Dr. Fazila? 2006, 2007?
2007.
2007. All right. Okay, so she is the recipient of Anugerah Pendidik Sanjungan USM 2018 or 19. She didn't give me her profile actually. I just remember what I can recall of her experience in USM. All right. So thank you again, Azira, for being here today. So today she is going to share with us the title Learning Theories. This is a part 1 from Behaviorism to Cognitivism, underlying theories in planning instruction. So if you would like to, plan your instruction, okay, and actually when we plan instruction, we should have a theory or some theories underlying our planning. All right. So today, Dr. Fazila will share with us. Hopefully, we can gain new knowledge on what is the theories underlying our instruction. Okay, when we plan our instruction. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Fazila. All right, Dr. Fazila, to share with us. Okay, so Dr. Fazila, the screen is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and very good morning. Thank you to CDAE, Prof. Karim and also Associate Professor Dr. Azida for always giving me a chance to actually do a sharing with other lecturers in USM. This is just a sharing. I'm not going to teach you. This is actually a sharing. So maybe we are actually from education. So maybe because of education, we have like some a better understanding about theories, learning theories and everything related to teaching and learning. Just because of we are actually from the education, so we are trained with this since my degree to say, and we are focusing more when we did our master and PhD. So this is again, like I told you, this is a sharing. So I would like to have an interactive session with all of you because I would also like to hear what you are actually currently and what you had did for your teaching. So we can share the things and we can share together with all other lecturers for the betterment of teaching and learning in USM. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi syrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin. Bismillah. Semoga segalanya berjalan dengan baik dan lancar. So I'll start sharing my okay, could you all see this? Can you all see this?
Yes.
Okay. Because I don't feel like doing the whole day session. It's a half day session. And learning theory is one of the topic that actually very important but yet boring. So if having a one day session, I can't imagine how we could actually sit the whole day listening and discussing about this. So I break into two sessions. The first part, we're talking about the first two theories, which is behaviorism and cognitivism, and another theories will be discussed next week. So like I told before, there will be a sharing session. So I would like also to hear from you as all the way when I do my sharing. Okay. So for purpose for this at the end of the session, I hope at the end of the session, I hope we could discuss the theories of learning. Okay, for today, we are actually focusing on two theories. So hopefully, all of you could discuss about the theories. So you are to say a bit familiar with the theories after this. So when people talk about behaviorism and cognitivism, you have some ideas on what the theories are all about. Okay. The second part is you could identify special characteristic of behaviorism and cognitivism. These are two different theories with different underlying, different principles, different role of learners, different role of teachers, okay, different application in a classroom, also uh, a bit different in assessment method also. So I hope we and you could identify special characteristic of behaviorism and cognitivism. And when you could identify the characteristic of behaviorism and cognitivism, I hope we can plan an instruction based on behaviorism and cognitivism learning perspective. Okay, I hope we can plan. Okay, currently USM are very into MQAs. Okay, we are aligning. We are doing the constructive alignment from the planning, the planning part, the doing part, and the assessment part, right? So hopefully by doing this sharing, I could also enlighten you on how to plan and also implement and also planning assessment method which is in line with specific learning theories. Okay. So features of the topic, the overall today topic will talk about the what is actually the learning theory, which today we are focusing on behaviorism and cognitivism. The second part is why are the learning theory important? Why are they important in the learning? Why as an instructor, as a learner, we need to know, to understand the learning theories and to also see, and also at the end of the session, I hope you could plan how actually you could implement, because all these learning theories had influence on our teaching. Okay, it very impactful in our teaching strategies. When we designing, we are actually instructor, so we are going to plan and create the learning environment. So how these learning theories could actually influence our teaching, influence the learning of the student, and influence our learning environment. Okay, so before we start, I would like to actually listen from all of you. Could you give like ideas? What do you define as learning? Okay. Wait.
Dr. Fazita, you can refer to the chat box as well, yeah?
All right. Okay. Okay. Could you all see the Padlet here?
No.
No. Could you see the Padlet here?
No, I can only see your PowerPoint only. Can you you can just paste the okay, all right. The Padlet is in the chat box, yeah?
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Wani. Could you please actually write your view on what you think of learning? So I I think it's better for me to actually start the session by knowing and digging your understanding about learning.
Dr. Fazila, you can share the Padlet page as well.
Wait, let me stop sharing this first.
Yeah.
Wait, it's my Padlet. Okay, the screen. Okay, can you all see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, this is some of the, okay, anonymous, why you don't put your name. There's no right and wrong answers in education, okay? Okay, acquiring knowledge, learning is actually to gain knowledge, anonymous is again to gain knowledge, to gain experience, the process of acquiring new knowledge, exploring and experience knowledge, okay? I think learning is not only knowing, but understand new knowledge and able to apply it, okay? From not knowing to knowing, the acquisition of knowledge or skill through study, experience, or being taught, okay? This definition is more broad. You are actually not talking about what, but you are also give a hint on how. So can I know who are actually saying this? The anonymous, the acquisition of knowledge and skill through study, experience, or being taught, because there's no name here. Who could anybody respond to this? What do you mean by through study, experience, or being taught? Formal learning involves teacher and student. How about informal learning? Can you consider as learning, like riding a bicycle? You know, you ride your bicycle by yourself. Can you consider that also learning? By looking at things around you, that one is also informal learning. Could you consider that also as learning? Okay, learning should result in a change of behavior. Yes, Prof. Karim, of course. Okay. So you are talking about from which perspective, Prof. Karim? The Padlet made us anonymous. Okay, you can write your name actually. Learning refers to more or less relatively permanent change in behavior as a function of training, practice, and experience. Yes, Hamina, could I hear from you to explain further? Where is Dr. Tahamina? Maybe you would like to actually share your, yes. Could you please, maybe you would like to say something?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Tahamina from Neuroscience Department.
Okay.
Actually, what I think that learning only not gaining the knowledge. This is our related with our change of behavior also. If I only gain the knowledge, this is not enough. Okay. And what according to different for example, Hall et al. 1943, they told this is the molecular change should be. Because if I learn more, my neuronal level is changing. And Kimball, 1961, they told that behavior should be changed after learning. And Kendall also told that this is only simply we should learn only about the what. So different opinion. So if I gather in everybody's opinion in together, this is called that permanent change should come after learning, and which change our behavior.
Alright, anybody would like to respond to Dr. Tahamina, Prof. Karim, Prof. Ahan? I saw Prof. Ahan name here just now. To respond to what Dr. Tahamina just tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, anybody? Okay. Who's speaking?
This is Tahamina.
Okay, Tamina, yeah. You would like to expand more?
And not too much. Just
Not too
training. We need the training and practice and experience also to change our behavior, and finally we learn.
No, okay.
Final point is our learning
Okay.
about
Could
the
you give
world.
could you give example from your experience?
My experience, for example, driving a car.
Okay.
Before getting my license, okay, I need the training. I need
Okay.
practice more. And that practice every time I must make some mistake, small mistake, and then I experience that one. And I remember because I need a license. Okay. So after getting license, actually this simple mistake what I did in the previously before getting license, that training and practice already in the neuronal level we got completely permanent. Okay, our neuronal transmission is completely stable from one neuron to another neuron before getting license because we did practice lots.
Okay, so
That's after then. Fine. When after getting license, the car license, then our behavior completely changed because I got license. Mentally, I got license, and my brain neuron is already got the memory, all that memory what I get the training in practice, and then my behavior also changed.
okay. So you are explaining two things in your what you said. You are explaining two theories together. The
Yeah.
behaviorist part and also the cognitive part. I will also
Yes.
use this as example later. So hopefully you can also share with us. Okay, again. Alright, so basically this is
Thank you.
learning from the perspective of all of you. Okay, so basically all of you agree that the purpose of learning is to acquire knowledge, skills and also behavior. Learning refers to more or less relatively permanent change. Learning when we are able to gain grasp on a subject or make sense of a subject. Okay, learning is gaining knowledge and skill from experience being taught and independent learning, formal and informal. So Dr. Zida would like to say something? The recipient of Anugerah Akademik Negara. I think people would like to also hear from you.
All right, Mazila, thank you. So I think that, we learn when we do something, all right? So for me, when I do something, I learn, as well as when I'm teaching, I also learn. I think that experience from both learning from others as well as teaching others given me the opportunity to learn as well as gain the experience. Yeah, that's my opinion on learning.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So basically, you have like all of us agree about what is learning is all about. Okay, to gain knowledge, experience, and also skills. Okay. So I stop this sharing. So Do you all see this?
Yes.
All right, okay. So we heard few views about learning from the Padlet just now. Okay, so what is learning actually? Okay, currently this is most common definition about learning. Okay, if you Google what is learning, you will find various definition of learning. But basically, this is a common interpretation and also definition of learning. Learning is process of acquiring new understanding, okay, knowledge, not only knowledge but also behavior, not only behavior but also skills. This is the two component that most of you are actually forgot to write, the values and also attitudes. This is to say that when we teach a student as an instructor, our role as a teacher or instructor is not only giving knowledge and skills, okay, and change our student behavior, but at the same time we need also to adjust, okay, to enhance our learners' values and attitudes towards something. It means by after attending our lectures on certain topic, we could also at the same time change the value that they hold, and maybe also could change the attitude that they have in their mind. Okay, let's say if I'm teaching a history, okay, I'm teaching a history teaching method. Okay, so we are also learn about history. So by teaching some of the topics today, especially about how history could enhance critical thinking, okay, so how we are actually using critical thinking and historical thinking in history, so I could also change the attitudes people that previously looking history as a boring subject. It's just a subject that import information about past historical things happened previously. But history is also a subject that could enhance my critical thinking, because from the content of the subject, I could critically analyze, okay, the content, so it could enhance my critical thinking. I could also critically thinking about history in different way, because we are actually learn from a mistake, okay. So by after and during my lectures, I hope my student could also think creatively, okay, because we are actually learn from people mistakes. We could learn from previous mistake, okay. So how we could live in a world, in a better place, we could actually enhance the spirit of togetherness among the Malaysian. Okay, after learning the peristiwa 13 Mei, okay. So
Dr.
this is
Fazila,
how,
Dr. Fazila,
yes,
can you please make your PowerPoint full screen?
okay, wait.
It is not clear. Yeah, full screen.
Boleh tak? Macam dah kan?
Not yet.
Right. Alright.
Okay.
Okay, can. Alright,
Alright.
okay. So this is how, by learning, I'm not only impose the knowledge to the student to understand what happened, okay? But I could also change the students' attitudes and values about certain things, okay? So like what I said before, after learning the peristiwa 13 Mei, 13 Mei, that happened many years ago, so our student could critically analyze the situation. So they could actually change their values and attitudes, okay, because we are actually living in a country, a multiracial country. So the spirit of togetherness should be embedded in all of the students. So by actually uh, attending my lectures, I hope not only they gain a knowledge, they could also change behavior to be better person, okay. They could also change their values and attitudes. Okay, how am I going to be a good citizen? Okay, I cannot be very selfish after this. Okay, I need to know how actually to speak nicely to other people. This is what I mean by learning. You are not actually help people to understand and also get some skill and also change behavior. But the important thing is also we need to also change the values and attitudes, okay, especially those negative, okay, bad attitude. to those very good and positive attitudes. Okay, so this is what it means by learning. So what is the indicator that the learning occurs, okay, to the learner? How we could assess, okay, and we are sure that our learners acquire the learning as what we target before, okay? So the learning occurs when we could assess that our student gain a mental or grasp of the subject. It means they get the content, okay? They have the information. When you ask question, they could answer you, okay? They could grasp the subject, okay? It means they could understand, they could answer you. This is one to actually tools to measure that they understand you. They can also make sense of the subject, like what example that I give before about the peristiwa 13 May. So they could make a sense of the subject, why I need to be a good citizen, okay? Why I need to tolerate with other races in my country. I could make sense of a subject. Why? Because I don't want those bad things happen again in my country. Because I want to remain the calm, okay, in my country. I want to live in a country like what my country is now, okay? So I could make sense of a subject. Okay, this is one of the indicator. It shows that the learning occurs, okay? Use our newly acquired ability or knowledge in with the skill. Okay, so we could also apply the knowledge in a different situation, okay? We could apply the knowledge that we learn, especially like mathematics, okay? The teachers are actually teaching you a formula, okay, but using the formula, you could also apply in a different situation, okay? You could apply. Do something with the new knowledge or skill and take ownership of it. Okay, do something with the knowledge. Okay, so as I told before, I just teach my student history about the peristiwa 13 Mei. So I could also ask my student, okay, could you please think creatively? What are the things that we could do? Okay, what are the ideas? What are the activities or what are the plan as a citizen? Okay, what we can do, okay, in order to keep the country peaceful and harmony to live in. Okay, as a student, okay, your role as a citizen, what can you do? It means the student could use their knowledge from what they learn and they could also apply in a new situation now, and they could also think on what they can do. Okay, so this is the indicator that the learning occurs when your student shows some of this. Okay, they gain the knowledge, they gain the skill, they have the ability to apply the knowledge in a different situation. The 30 May happened long time ago, okay, during their grandmother and their grandfather time. But I could also use that situation for a betterment of my life today, for my children, for future life. Okay, so they could see, okay, use the previous experience for today's living. Okay, and so now we are going to discuss how this learning happened, how the children get this grasp of the subject. They could make sense of the subject. They could uh, apply new knowledge to the current situation. Okay, so how actually learning happen? Okay, so psychologists have different view on how learning happen. Different this is actually gradually changed. The paradigms in learning theories gradually changed since late 30s, okay, until now we are in the 21st century. So the paradigm of the psychologists are actually changed when they could see one and another psychologist that could see the weaknesses of previous theories. So they are proposing another theories. So basically, therefore, learning has been defined in numerous ways by many different theories because each of the theories have their own perspective and view on learning. Masing-masing nampak proses pembelajaran itu berlaku dalam cara yang berbeza. So because they believe learning happen in different way. So that's why we have like different theories of learning. Okay, in education, when the student do their thesis, okay, when they do their fieldwork, okay, whatever intervention they want to do in a class, okay, if they want to develop a module, we need to have underlying theories. So commonly there are actually four main learning theories, which is in the education setting. So to say as educationist, there's no right or wrong of the theories. Okay, behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, connectivism is a flow. Okay, it started from behaviorism and then it goes to cognitivism when the cognitive people like Piaget, Jonathan disagree with the behaviorist thinking. So then come out the constructivism. When the constructivisms, okay, not so do agree with the mental structure. So they are proposing a constructivist way of learning. And then in line with the 21st century, they come in the connectivism. These people are like Prof. Karim and also AP Dr. Azida. They are connectivism people. So for me, from my opinion, there's no right or wrong of any of this learning theory. It's just that because these learning theories explain different underlying and also different assumption of learning. Okay, so we will see for today's sharing, I'm just focusing on these two, which is behaviorism and cognitivism. So what is learning theory? So learning theory is actually a set of instructional principles because we have four learning theories. So each of these four learning theories carries different principles and also assumption. And because of these different theories carry different assumption, they guide to a different practice of teaching and learning and designing the learning environment. Behaviorists have their own school of thought. So behaviorists also believe on certain views on how I should create my learning environment. If I am a constructivist, there are underlying principles, okay, that underline my paradigms, and this will guide me on creating my constructivist learning environment. So when we talk about the learning principle of these learning theories, these are the questions that we need to actually ask ourselves, okay? Because as I told before, all the learning theories have different underlying and also different assumptions. So it will explain differently how learnings occur, okay? Which factors influence learning? Behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and connectivism. By just listening and looking at the word behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and connectivism. So hopefully you will have like some ideas how behaviorists influence learning. How learning occur according to constructivists by just listening to the core word of these four learning theories. Behavior, cognitivist, constructivist, and connectivism. And how does transfer occur? How the knowledge or the skill, the behavior occur according to these four perspectives? Okay, what types of learning are best explained by the theory? What basic assumption? And how should instruction be structured to facilitate learning? Okay, could I hear some views from the audience here? What these keywords of behaviorist, cognitivist, constructivist, and connectivist actually hint you, give you clues? Okay, could I listen to one or two views who are actually in the, because I expand the ni, I cannot. Okay, wait, let me see. Okay. Dr. Faharna, could you give some, okay. What can you understand? What could you say from the word behaviorist, cognitivist, constructivist, and connectivism? Dr. Tamina, can somebody say something? What can they understand about this? Let me check on this participant. Dr. Halimatul Sadia, could you say something? Dr. Ahmad Zamri? Dr. Ahmad Zamri would like to actually listen from him. He is our assessment people. Dr. Andika from Seni, any of these forwards did give any hints to you? Dr. Andika?
Sekejap sekejap. Pada saya behaviorism merujuk kepada proses pembelajaran melalui persekitaran.
Persekitaran, okay. Could you explain more?
Ya tak? Betul. Okey ya. Adakah dia merujuk pada tingkah laku ke?
Tingkah laku, okay, yes. From the word behaviorism, okay. So tingkah laku, okay. Apa yang mungkin Dr. Andika boleh explain sedikit tentang tingkah laku, pembelajaran dan tingkah laku. Kaitkan tingkah laku dan pembelajaran.
Proses pembelajaran kena dari dua pihak. Maksud saya ialah murid-murid belajar melalui apa yang dilihat pada guru. Apa yang
Okay.
disampaikan oleh guru, apa yang didengar oleh guru.
Okay, so bagi contoh kelas Dr. Andika. Dr. Andika orang seni ni menarik kalau nak dengar.
Okay.
Dr. Andika ajar apa? Kursus apa?
Saya buat ajar teater.
Okay, teater. Okay, very interesting to actually share.
Okay, macam saya kalau di kelas, pertama sekali sebelum saya ajar, saya pastikan penampilan fizikal saya, pakaian saya mencerminkan seorang pendidik. Kalau saya nak mengajar orang menjadi manusia, saya perlu menampilkan diri saya dulu sebagai manusia. Dari segi pakaian saya utamanya, dari segi penampilan diri saya utamanya, dan juga cara saya bercakap. Kalau saya nak minta pelajar saya membaca, saya lebih dahulu perlu menunjukkan yang saya banyak membaca. Jadi maksud saya ialah murid, pelajar perlu melihat dulu contoh cikgunya, gurunya.
Okay, so maksudnya kalau ikut Dr. Andika, behaviorism ini lebih kepada peniruan, betul tak?
Lebih kepada peniruan, apa yang dia nampak di depan mata.
Okay, alright.
Sebab proses
Okay.
kanak-kanak belajar mesti dari awal mula-mula, dari pendapat saya, dari awal dia belajar, dia meniru. Sebab manusia ni pun meniru untuk dia improve diri dia.
Okay, bagaimana sebenarnya kalau mengajar teater tu Dr. Andika? How you teach theater in your class? Because okay, theater need some skill, right?
Kita kena melalui tunjuk cara.
Okay.
Daripada teori yang kita tunjuk, kita bagi di PowerPoint atau di whiteboard, kita juga kena buat tunjuk cara secara fizikal.
I remember I teach one paper, one course previously is a PGT 203, kemahiran komunikasi interpersonal guru. So one of the tugasan of the course is the student need to, at the end of the semester, they need to perform a theater. So I always call few lecturers from Pusat Seni and also artists from Dewan Budaya to actually give lectures on this because saya bukan orang theater, so I have no ideas about theater. So this is the things that actually what they did in my lecture hall. Sebab dia kata orang teater kata suara tu mesti keluar daripada perut. Betul?
Betul.
Kalau macam kita ni semua, Dr. Azida, Prof. Farhan nak bagi tahu, kita ni semua suara keluar daripada tekak sebab tu kita selalu sakit tekak. Betul tak? Is it true tak?
Kalau untuk orang muzik lain. Suara bukan saja dari perut, kadang-kadang tu dia keluar dari dada juga, dari tekak pun ada. Pasal dia perut ni dia main. Jadi kalau kita kontrol perut ni, maknanya segala-galanya kita kontrol. Tapi kadang-kadang untuk projection suara, pada saya orang muzik lebih mahir. Bila dia kontrol suara menggunakan mind dia, menggunakan tekak dia, menggunakan perut dia. Dan juga dada. Dia ada different tone. Itu orang muzik lebih mahir.
Okay, so saya rasa orang CDAE, Prof Karim, Prof Azidah kan, selalu sangat bagi talk ke hulu kiri kanan depan belakang kan, the whole over throughout Malaysia. So you could actually call Prof Dr. Andika ni actually to teach you how to keluarkan suara daripada perut. This is actually what Cik Halimi, Cik Mursyid, Cik Helmi teach my student. Suara tu dari perut. So dia kata barulah suara jantan tu keluar, kata dia lah kan. So okay, this is what you believe in behaviorism. So let's listen to Dr. Aman. Dr. Aman, would you like to say something about any of these four theories? Okay, let's start.
Okay, Prof, I think ianya bergantung kepada preference orang lah. Setengah orang dia belajar melalui guna mental faculty. Setengah orang pula dia akan belajar melalui macam physical action kan. Macam kalau yang physical ni kita banyak guna mental faculty pun. Dia just lakukan sesuatu nanti dia dapat play. Yang ketiganya melalui emosi. Kadang-kadang seorang tu belajar ikut apa yang dia fikir. Dia bukan fikir, dia emosi dia lah, dia kecenderungan dia. That is my view lah.
Okay, betul. Sebab tu learning theories explain different ways of learning. Okay, so sebab tu macam saya kata tadi, there's no right or wrong in learning theories. So cuma contohnya macam kita ada pelajar yang datang bila buat master ke buat PhD ke, dia kata dia nak guna behaviorism. It's just that behaviorism tu dah terlalu lama. You need to justify why you want to use behaviorism. How behaviorism will lead to enhancement in a learning kan. So itu saja sebab dia bergantung on how we view on teaching. What we believe as true. Okay. Ni Dr. Prof Karim need to start to speak from his tummy. Okay. Can I try? Yes. Dr. Ahmad Farhan. Yes.
Fazila?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Can Prof Karim.
Oh, boleh ya? Okay, apa ni, keluar masuk ni. So I apa ni, when I look at the learning, we are discussing learning theory now.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So I believe that at any time we probably use a mix of these theories dalam kita punya pendekatan kan. Now we are talking about behaviorism kan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So mungkin saya boleh bagi satu contoh, and I'm not sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong. For example, apa ni, bila kita beri some form of motivation, incentive for motivation. For example, bila saya bagi task kepada student, saya kata okay, I have opened the quiz from sekian, from today until Wednesday. So then the first student who will answer the quiz will get something lah. So kind of instant gratification kan. And when I do that, I notice that students akan kind of berebut-rebut lah. They want to be the first to answer, and that kind of I would say relate to the behavior of how the student respond to that instant gratification.
Yeah, right. You are right, Prof. Betul. Sebab tu yang kita akan explain sekejap lagi. Sebab behaviorist ni dia nothing to do with mental structure. Okay, so dia nak change of behavior. So in order to change the behavior, dia ada reinforcement and also dia ada reward system. Sebab kita nak as a teacher, we want our student to exhibit certain behavior. So we are actually using this, okay? But there's always critics from other theories lah. Okay, let's move to next slide. Thank you. Okay, somebody.
Prof, say something.
Okay, yes, Prof Farhan.
Ada pula orang mengingatkan. Okey, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Nak belajar balik ni. My perspective, I think we all go through this learning process. Early in life, a lot of us, we learn from behaviorism. We learn from observing, we learn from others' experience and your own experience. So I think we all do that. Cuma sometimes kita tak realize that we are going through a learning process. Okay. Then bulk of our learning, especially at school, is through cognitivism, where we are given and are being fed by information, knowledge, syllabus, blah 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 lah.
Yeah.
So to me that is the official way that we perceive learning to happen. And that is the problem actually lah. When our students, for example, we only expect learning through cognitivism, and sometimes behaviorism pun dia orang tak nampak. So in my class, for example, I will always ask them to observe what's going on, because I'm in an area of engineering and in particular transport. You use transport every day, but sometimes you don't learn from what's going on. So to me lah, from my understanding, behaviorism and cognitivism are two so-called ways of learning that we have done. But when it comes to constructivism, from my understanding is that this is where applied is lah, the effective side. How do you apply all this knowledge to solve problem, to actually be a better person in life, to be more competent and responsible, and your ability to do that is actually translated into what we call program outcomes lah kalau dalam OBE.
Betul.
Connectivism ni kompleks sikit. I tak sure, tapi maybe is your ability to use all your knowledge to a new situation. Like COVID, COVID-19 is a new situation, and all of us as a community, as university, had to use our respective experience, knowledge, and also our values to then get the best out of the situation. So therefore you learn how to adjust yourself to that situation. Itulah dia lebih kurang. Wallahualam, betul ke tak? No? Okay, terima kasih.
Betul lah. Siapa berani nak kata Prof Fahan dengan Prof Karim tak betul? So kita kata, ya betul Prof. Ya betul. But the idea is there lah Prof.
Saya rasa Prof, untuk saya punya pendapat lah, kalau salah betulkan. Behaviorism ni mungkin yang pertama. Kan?
Siapa ya? Dr. Jamal?
Andika.
Oh Andika, okey Dr. Andika. Okey.
Ini mungkin yang pertama. Jadi saya melihat proses kanak-kanak belajar, budak-budak kecil, dia bermula dengan behaviorism. Lepas tu, tapi behaviorism ni dia ada kelemahan dia. Yang mana kadang-kadang tu apa yang kita buat tak semestinya apa yang kita fikir. Kan? Jadi itu yang menyebabkan munculnya teori-teori yang lain ni, yang menyokong antara satu sama lain. Atau tadi kata Prof Farhan kata connectivism tu boleh kita kaitkan dengan situasi sekarang COVID. Kalau dulu mungkin connectivism ini tidak berlaku, tidak dikenal teorinya. Sebab pada peringkat awal kita sangat dipengaruhi oleh teori behaviorism dalam proses ya, macam kita ambil teori eksperimen dengan binatang contoh. Kita melihat dulu instruction apa yang berlaku pada anjing. Pablo, teori Pablo kan?
Ya, Pablo, betul.
Pavilion. Jadi kita tengok perkembangan teori itu sebenarnya saling menyokong antara satu sama lain dan mengukuhkan mana yang kurang, yang mungkin tidak berlaku pada ketika itu. Itu pandangan saya.
Alright, okay, tak apa. There's no right and wrong. The answers are actually there. Semua orang cakap there's a base lah on what you are saying in class. Sorry lah, asyik pakai kelas je sebab dah kita online kan. Okay, so this is, kita dah discuss tadi. Okay, so this is the overview of the learning theories. Kebanyakan tadi kita dah cakap behaviorism is the learner positive reinforcement seperti yang Prof Karim dah sebut, seperti Dr. Andika dah sebut cognitivism. Beyond that, it is more on the internal process, mental process kat dalam kepala kita. Constructivism from the word construct. So the constructivism believe that the student construct their own knowledge. Pelajar tu yang sendiri kena construct knowledge. So that's why the constructivism is more on the student focus. Because untuk mendapatkan ilmu, pelajar tu sendiri perlu dapat ilmu. Like behaviorism in cognitivism is more on teacher-centered. Because they believe that cikgu yang kena tuangkan ilmu dalam kepala. Okay, behaviorism is more on behavior modification. And cognitivism is more on the mental structure. So they see mind as a blank computer kalau cognitivism. So otak kita ni macam komputer. Lagi banyak bagi input, banyak dalam memory, lagi banyak dia boleh keluarkan. This is computer, this is what I learned from Prof. Mirza when I did my PhD. Dia kata otak kita macam komputer. So tuang banyak-banyak, so lagi banyak dalam komputer tu lagi banyak boleh keluar. This is what the cognitivism believe. So sebab tu this is like what Prof. Farhan said, this is very dominant in our school system. Sebab tu there lots of drilling technique, latihan banyak-banyak. Kalau di SPM, they need to write 10 karangan a month, you know. Mathematics, when I was in my form 3, that's one senior, kita semua admire because her math was like so marvelous. So I did ask her, how come she be so good in mathematics? So she told me that I do at least 10 maths exercise every day. 10 maths exercise every day. Do or die, dia kata, mesti buat hari-hari. Masa tu saya fikir kalau saya ikut dia, satu hari saya buat 10 latihan mathematics. In a month, I will do 300 maths exercise. Mesti saya jadi pandai. That's how the Connectivism people believe. Lagi buat, lagi pandai. Lagi banyak, lagi pandai. The more drilling, practice yang cikgu buat, lagi banyak karangan budak tulis, murid akan lebih pandai tulis karangan. Lebih banyak latihan mathematics, lebih bagus matematik. This is what the Connectivism people believe. So that's then come in the constructivist people. Okay, the constructivist fikir, all people, kita ni semua ada bersama kita. We carry with us our own culture, our school of thought, kita punya experience, kita punya background, family background, SES background, kan, social economic background, educational background, language competencies. Takkan kita tak nak guna kot. So that's why the constructivists believe different people will learn differently, and because different people have different ability, so kenapa kita nak tuang maklumat tu macam air kopi tuang dalam cawan, you know? So let the children explore the learning by they doing themselves, because I have my own different background. Okay, I may learn things differently. So I may also produce things differently with Dr. Azida, with what my other colleagues. Okay, Dr. Zamri different background, Dr. Azia different background, me also different background, Dr. Azida also different background. So latar belakang itu yang ada bersama individu itu, so perlu digunakan supaya dia mencipta sendiri. Learner builds on their own personal experience, internal, active and social in the learning process. Dia gunakan segala yang dia ada, dia explore dalam the learning process, then they will acquire whatever knowledge, ke skill, attitude, belief system yang dia ada. Okay, contohnya macam saya, I was from a girls' school, okay. So bila saya masuk form 6, saya masuk dalam sekolah mixed school. So how do I use my previous experience in a girls' school? Okay, nak masuk dalam all boys schools. Kalau orang yang daripada mixed school masuk, so different background, so our perceive things differently. Only then come, okay, towards the 21st century, that's a connectivism. Connect, we are actually connect to the world. So connect is according now, when we talk about the 21st century learning, we are connect to the world via gadgets, kan? So people are actually networking each other. So this is how people learn. We are not just construct the knowledge using our own experience and background, but we are also could learn through connectivism. Okay, so this is basically the overview of these 4 learning theories. Okay, why we need to understand and know the learning theories? Okay, basically our discussion by our friend before give us some ideas that we need to understand the learning theories, because the learning theories, when we understand the learning theories, okay, the underlying principles and assumption of each theory, so we can create suitable, a proper learning environment for our student. Okay, if we want A, so we could actually create a proper learning environment in order to achieve our objective, the A objective. If we want a B objective, we could create the learning objective, a learning environment in order to achieve the B objective. Okay, so this is why very important for us actually to understand different learning theories, because we could also understand that people learn differently And people could learn also different way. Like cycling, okay? We learn to cycle, we learn to drive, like what Dr. Tamima just now said, is from many trials and errors, you know. Only then, from the incorrect response to correct response. She learned through that. Okay. I could also say, okay, in order to actually have a skill in driving, I should also have a mental structure on what I should do. Okay. So this is first I need to do. Okay, masuk kereta, tengok cermin dulu, pastikan, you know, in order for me to actually drive appropriately kan. So kena adjust kerusi, you know, that's a set of things in my mind that I structured in my mind in order for me to actually drive a car. Okay, as a constructivist, how I look about the learning. Connectivism, how I look, how I can drive a car. Last night, my daughter, because my first daughter just passed her license about 1 or 2 weeks ago. So my youngest, last night dia main game bawa kereta. So this is what the connectivism is doing now. Last time bila kita nak bawa kereta, kita tak ada. If I could remember my time, okay, in my 90s, okay, nak pergi ambil lesen kereta, pergi masuk ambil lesen kereta tu, that's my first time pegang steering kereta. My first time also handling the steering of the kereta. But nowadays kid, they have the simulation using all these gadgets, okay? So at least they know, yeah, if they want to turn left, okay, they should actually pushing the steering to left, right? Pushing the steering to right. Kita dulu, kita datang, kita terus buat. So the world is actually changing. That's why the learning theory is also changing from behaviorism until now the connectivism. Okay, so learning theories for today's is behaviorism and cognitivism. Okay, so how learning theories influence on teaching? So in order to answer this how, so we will look specifically on each of the theory. Okay, so this is behaviorism. I would like you all to actually watch this YouTube video. Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay, Dr. Wani, could you paste the link in the chat box? Okay?
Okay, saya paste. Sekejap
Okay. Saya cuba buka dekat saya punya. I will also try to open from my. Okay. This is behaviorism. Okay, Wan Wani dah letak kat chat box. Okay.
With Grammarly, you
Okay. Okay, saya share. Could you see the screen, class?
perfect words that make your writing sharp or explicit or accent or
Could you see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Alright. Okay, carefully listen to this video. This is very simple, very short. Okay.
distinctive. So your message connects. Grammarly, helping you connect. Go to grammarly.com and download today.
Pasal aku pula download pula ni. Alright.
Skip ad, Dr. Fazila.
Sat. Tak keluar pula yang skip ad tu.
Sebelah kanan, bawah.
Dia ada like, dislike.
Bawah ni, bawah like dislike tu. I can see it here.
Alright, okay. Okay, tolong dengar. Okay, please listen to this video. So I hope you could pick up some of the underlying characteristic of behaviorism. Okay.
Meet Teacher Tony. Teacher Tony is concerned about his classroom management. Teacher Tony needs help.
I can't get my students to behave properly.
Why don't you use behaviorism to help shape appropriate student behavior?
What's behaviorism?
Behaviorism is a learning theory based on the idea that behavior can be controlled or modified based on the antecedents and consequences of a behavior.
Huh?
For example, in the classroom, a behavior will only occur if given the right environment or antecedent. The behavior is more or less likely to reoccur based on the reinforcements or consequences that follow, such as rewards and punishments.
What?
You've probably seen behaviorism at work and didn't even know it. Behaviorism is often used for shaping classroom behavior and helping students learn basic facts and skills. Common examples include, you can watch TV as soon as you're done with your homework. Students who complete all homework this week don't have to take the quiz on Friday. Receiving a sticker for a correct answer on a math problem. And students who arrive late will receive detention. These are all examples of behaviorism at work in the classroom. Now let's see if we can apply the principles of behaviorism to help solve Teacher Tony's problem. First, Teacher Tony needs to decide what specific behaviors he wants his students to exhibit. Teacher Tony decides he would like students to show 4 behaviors. Teacher Tony wants students to come to class on time, have materials out when the bell rings, participate in classroom discussions, and push in their chair when they leave class. Next, Teacher Tony must decide on reinforcements or consequences for his students. Teacher Tony decides on 2 reinforcers. First, Teacher Tony will award classroom money to students who demonstrate behaviors. Money can be spent on class rewards, such as using notes on a quiz or turning in homework late with no penalty. Second, Teacher Tony will take away money from students who fail to demonstrate the behaviors. After implementing these principles of behaviorism, Teacher Tony's students are coming to class on time, have materials out when the bell rings, participating in classroom discussions, and pushing in their chair when they leave class.
Using behaviorism really helped my classroom management.
If you are wanting to shape student behaviors and learning in your class, you can use behaviorism to solve your problems, just like Teacher Tony.
All right. Okay. Okay. So ini ialah this is the theory. This is the very short and brief discussion about what is behaviorism. Okay. Okay. So kita dah faham there are some clues ada dalam tu. Anybody would like to say anything? To share something what they heard from this Teacher Tony video?
Yeah, Dr. Fazila.
Yeah.
I write something in the chat.
Okay, Sat.
So, of course, you can read so much about this theory, kan? Tapi to me, from the video, it's about the teacher does something so that students behave or respond in the way the teacher expect or in the way that teacher hope students to behave.
Okay.
So, for example, in the class management, you know, if you don't want the students to make a noise, or if you want the student to do something, so you have to do some, you know, give some instructions so that you know, they will follow and behave in that way.
All right. Okay, there are a few questions from Prof. Karim. I prefer the constructivism and connectivism approach, but I believe at one time all four learning theories can applicable in a issue. Yes, Prof. Sebab sebenarnya in a lecture sebenarnya, bila kita bagi, okay, we are actually doing a discussion in a class, okay? So we are doing a discussion, we want a student to run a project. Okay, kita kata okay, nak buat, okay, saya ada satu kursus because of the COVID, so we have to do the things online. So instead of they come up with a tangible story sets, so they have to come up with an e-book. Okay, so dulu bila kita, when we come up with the story set in a class, okay, masa dalam tutorial class tu, they have to come up with the storyboard, buku cerita, and also with the props with the story, because they need to bring this story sets to selected preschools and also primary school to tell stories to the children. Okay, so I believe, I like you, Prof, strongly believe that all these four learning theories could actually blend in one lesson. Okay, when they do the discussion, okay, we ask them to come up with their own storyboard. They bring with them their own experience, okay. Pengalaman dia membaca buku cerita, read storybooks, dibacakan buku cerita, okay, mendengar cerita, they bring those in their mind and they are actually discussing with the friend. When discussing, they are actually doing the constructivist because they are doing the active learning strategies, they are discussing about them. Each of them have their own background. So dia kata cerita ni kena macam ni. B pula kata apa kata kita tambah macam ni. C pula kata apa kata kita tambah macam ni. That's where the PD also coming in. You learn better with other people, you learn better with your instructor. So at the same time, bila as an instructor, I will walk around and tengok kawan budak-budak tu kan, the student doing their story. So kita akan, yes, good, cantiknya, pandainya. That one is a reward. Okay, I'm giving a verbal reward. So bila kita cakap macam tu, kita motivate them untuk buat lebih baik. So kadang-kadang kita ambil tu, kita tunjuk pada kawan-kawan. Nampak tak dia punya storyboard tu very clear. Lepas A jadi B, lepas B jadi C, lepas C jadi D. So kita tunjuk. So this is how the behavior is coming in, where I give a positive reinforcement to my student. So bila jadi macam tu, dia jadi seronok. Dia jadi jadi lagi bersemangat. So I go to another group, kita tahu, oh salah ni, jangan buat macam ni. Oh bahasa ini terlalu berat because we are coming a storybook for preschool and small children. So penggunaan perkataan yang ada imbuhan menggunakan, menyebabkan, I say it's very hard for the small children to actually read. We want those perkataan dengan pola suku kata yang mudah lah. 2-3 pola suku kata saja, KB, KVK ke. So that one is a negative reinforcement. So budak-budak tu, pelajar kita akan okay, dia tak buat benda tu sebab dia tahu susah. That's where the behavior is coming in. So bila dia nak buat buku cerita, the storyboard is berperanan sebagai satu mental structure. Dia kena susun cerita tu. Contohnya macam Dr. Andika faham lah kot, bila nak buat teater kan dia mesti ada plot. So kita kata kat dia, this is the plot of the story. It should start by starting, so climbing up to the climax and going down to the ending of the story. So that one is plot is a mental structure. Kita bagi kat dia, kat budak-budak, okay, the story should be like this according to the plot. That's why the cognitivist coming in. Sebab kita bagi tahu kat dia, okay, plot cerita ni sepatutnya macam ni. This is a classic story plot which is applicable and suitable for children. So kita kata, okay, dia tak boleh plot yang tonggang terbalik ke, untuk budak dia susah nak faham kan. So that's where the connectivist coming in, because they have like some mental structure and they follow the things. Okay, the connectivism coming in where, because I asked them to actually get their own story. So they start Googling. Cari sana, cari sini, they start Googling. So that's where the connectivism coming in. And they start contacting each other, tanya cikgu dia, tanya orang. That's where the connectivism coming in. So I do agree with you, Prof. We can actually blend these four learning theories in a learning. This is, I remember I did a session with CDAE, I think previous years kot. pasal dynamic in teaching and learning. What I mean by dynamic is being dynamic and flexible. So kita tak terikat with only one learning series. Kita selalu adapt and adjust kita punya pengajaran bergantung kepada kanak-kanak dan pelajar, kanak-kanak. Reward the alternate, must you use stick, any other alternative. This is classical behaviorism. Students should also have some understanding of learning theory. I don't think that we directly tell them what is learning theory is all about. Tapi saya rasa daripada apa yang kita buat, macam Dr. Andika kata tadi kan, the student nowadays are very clever kan. Our children are not very clever. So dengan cara dia tengok kita mengajar, I think they could also differentiate. Okay, lecturer ni kan suka bagi kuliah je, bercakap aja, dia bagi nota je. Like what my daughter is also complaining now. There are some of the lecturers yang bagi nota, bercakap. So 2 jam tu dia je bercakap kan. There are also some lecturers yang dia cakap, dia buka, dia bagi pandangan, dia minta student response. There's always perhubungan dua hala interaksi between the learners and also the instructor. So I think directly we don't inform the student this is behaviorist, cognitivist, constructivist and so on. But by actually observing our teaching, like what Dr. Andika just mentioned, student could also see, okay, pensyarah dia ni jenis macam mana, pensyarah dia ni jenis macam mana. This is what I always told my student. It doesn't matter with tudung apa you pakai, baju apa, lipstick apa you pakai, but the way you deliver the teaching that touch the student heart. Dia suka kita mengajar, dia suka kita bukan kerana baju kita cantik ke apakah, tetapi how we teach them, how we impart knowledge to the student, the way we conduct the class, the learning environment that we create. So saya rasa student tu akan faham, because nowadays student they also know about connectivism, they also know that they need to learn with other people, they also know that they need to actually, teachers are not the only source of information. Okay, previous years kita rasa cikgu serba tahu. Like the student-centered, the teacher-centered approach was cikgu serba tahu. It was a popular trademark kan, cikgu serba tahu. So the role of the teacher is actually to impart knowledge. Kita nampak budak ni macam tong kosong, masuk tuang semua. It was before. But now the student also know that they can also learn from themselves. They could also learn from other people. They could also learn from YouTube kan. So by watching and observing our teaching, I think the student will have some ideas on what type of instructor we are. Okay. Do I answer you, Prof? Connecting the dot is making sense of the info. Connectivism or constructivism? It should construct then connect. Or it should also connect then construct. Connecting the dots, making sense of the info. Okay, because you need to making sense of the info. That's where you need the connective first. Kan? Kita boleh apply, kita boleh synthesize all the knowledge. So bila kita buat macam tu, okay, we are actually construct the knowledge based on kita punya experience, pengalaman kita, kita punya language competencies, okay, the skill that we have, okay. So only then bila ada, so I think bila mana datang dulu, I cannot say which come first. I think these two come together. Do I answer you, Prof, for these two questions? It's so hard to answer question from a professor, well-known professor.
Yeah, thank you.
Professor, well-known professor.
I'm a professor of food technology.
Do I answer you, Prof, for these two questions? Connectivism?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, okay. So, like what Dr. Tamina wrote in a chat box also, this is the experiment of the behaviorist, the stimulus and response by Pablo, and also the rat and box by Skinner. The stimulus and response is what explained by behaviorist. Behaviorist kata, kita hanya akan belajar when they have like a proper stimulus. With proper stimulus, student will respond, will react according to to the stimulus. So like the dogs experiment by Pablo. Mula-mula Pablo show the food, okay, the unconditioned stimulus, okay, only the salivation, okay, ileo of the dogs, okay, and then he tried with the loceng, bell, no salivation, ileo tak keluar pun, and then he tried with both, okay, the loceng, once he pressed the bell, he show also the food. That's where the salivation coming in, okay. keluar. Kami ingin pula keluar, air liur dia meleleh bila dia nampak. So selepas itu apabila nampak sahaja loceng, air liur anjing akan meleleh. So begitu juga, if we could apply this in a lesson, in a classroom setting, kita bagi contoh contoh preschool class, okay, ataupun primary school. Kalau buat salah je rotan, buat salah je rotan. Okay, so lain kali budak tak payah buat salah. Dia nampak rotan je, dia dah tak buat salah. Sebab the student could associate the rotan as the stimulus. So response dia budak tak akan buat salah. That's what it means by stimulus and response, kan? Sebab that's why behaviorist percaya macam tu. Sebab dia behaviorist kata otak tu tak penting. Dia tidak mengambil kira peranan dan kepentingan otak. The important of the learning is to change the behavior. The classroom management and to change the behavior. So in order to change the behavior, they must use the reinforcement and also the reward. Like the rat and box experiment by Skinner. When the rat push this lever, the food come out from the dispenser. So dia tahu kalau dia tekan this lever, the food will come out and the rat can eat. Unfortunately, bila dia tekan one of the lights ni, this is the electric grid. Dia akan electric grid lah bergetar. So the rat learn from this negative reinforcement. Jangan tekan button ni. Sat lagi dia kena kejutan elektrik. But he learns also, the rat learns also, dia tekan benih dia, so dia akan dapat makanan. This is the experiment to show the negative and positive reinforcement. Which is the behaviorist percaya, kalau kita gunakan pendekatan-pendekatan seperti ini, kita boleh ajar kanak-kanak tu untuk belajar. Kita boleh ajak pelajar kita untuk belajar. Kita puji, bagus, pandai, yes, good, kita tepuk belakang dia, budak akan lagi semangat. So dia percaya belajar itu melalui perubahan tingkah laku dengan kita menggunakan rangsangan-rangsangan yang tertentu. That's what the behaviorist people believe. Okay? So learning is, sebab tu dia kata learning is a process, like what Dr. Tamimah just mentioned about naik basikal tadi kan. Swimming, driving cannot by every first attempt. Tak boleh. But naik kayu basikal, kita akan pandai. But it's always through many trials and errors and practices. Only then kita akan jadi perfect. Okay, the skill and knowledge become perfect. So we know balancing. The knowledge that we know is balancing while swimming. Okay, you need to how to float yourself. That one is the knowledge. But you know also how to float yourself. The skill to float is due to try and error punya practices. Only then you will learn the skill to swim and also you will learn the skill to actually drive. And the reward is actually the license. Like what Dr. Tamimah, I go for driving class because I want to get a license. Because the license is actually a reward. When I got the license, I got the license for life. Okay, driving license means a license for life. I can drive car, I can go to wherever place I want. So the license is actually a reward. Okay, the process to get a license is gradually, it's a slow and gradual process. Okay, finally you have a perfect response. Kita boleh bawa basikal dengan baik. And practice is needed to correct response. Kena bawa basikal hari-hari. Only then you know how to ride a bicycle. You need to swim every day. Only then you can swim. Kuat lentang ke, kuat kupu-kupu ke, gaya bebas ke, only then. But you need to practice. And skills and knowledge are learned through all this. Trials, practices, incorrect response. Incorrect, correct, incorrect, correct, incorrect, correct. Then that's where finally you become perfect. So if according to behaviorists, mind is not necessary for learning. They don't believe so much on mind. Okay, because the focus is more on changing the behavior. So the reinforcement and reward is actually the stimulus actually. It could actually stimulate the children to respond to a positive attitude or skill, knowledge that we want the student to acquire. It motivate and drive the learning. So the learner in behaviorist is considered like very passive learner because that's what they call as blank state. Budak-budak tak payah fikir apa-apa. Okay, like maybe sedikit sebanyak like what Dr. Andika said just now, kita tengok dan perhati. Kita pergi kelas memadu pun beginning kan kita tengok macam mana orang bawa kita. Me myself also, it's not that easy, you know, to give talk and share with CDAE. So when Dr. Azida melamar kita a few years back, it takes me banyak minggu lah kot, bulan to give myself confident kan. So what I did was, I listened to few webinar series. Masa tu tak ada webinar lah. Kita pergi masuk dengan beberapa. I listen to few talk. Masa tu yang popular Prof Karim lah. Tapi bila kita tengok dia punya talk kan, kita jadi takut. Oh, kita tak boleh jadi macam dia lah, hebat sangat lah. Kita rasa orang tua ni hebat sangat lah, macam mana nak jadi macam dia kan. Tapi saya rasa bagaimana saya nak mendapatkan keyakinan diri saya, this is what I did. Okay, I go and listen, I went and listen to few talk before. Pergi masuk dengar and see what they are doing, apa yang dia buat untuk menjadikan the talk very interactive and so on. So that's how I gain my confidence, I gain the experience. So slowly boleh perlahan-perlahan untuk start buat sharing dengan CDA. So this is the characteristic of behaviorist. So that's why they say if behaviorist itu saja, they are concerned on the low level of thinking. Sebab mind is not necessary in the learning. So dia tidak menggalakkan kepada higher order skills or higher order thinkings. Especially the higher order thinkings. Dia tidak menggalakkan kepada higher order thinking sebab dia tengok, dia tiru. Macam konsep yang Dr. Andika bagi tahu tadi, ada konsep peniruan, right? Kita tengok, kita tiru. So dia tidak memerlukan kepada proses nak sintesis. Okay. Sedikit aplikasi, tetapi dia tidak memerlukan kepada sintesis, analisis, apatah lagi untuk mencipta sesuatu yang baru. Okay, this is the weaknesses of behaviorist. But behaviorist is very good and applicable to low level of education. Prasekolah, pendidikan awal kanak-kanak, pendidikan khas and also sekolah rendah. Standard 1, Standard 2, Standard 3. You need like your small children kan, anak kecil kita dengan anak besar. You have different approach kan to your children. Anak kecil kita boleh cakap, okay kalau Aimi buat macam ni, sekali lagi mama bagi ni. Tapi yang besar kita tak boleh bagi macam tu dah. Kita tak boleh nak bagi gula-gula, kita tak boleh menggula-gulakan. Because of this is what the Connectivist explain. Children kita ni berkembang cognitively differently according to age. So untuk behaviorist, dia lebih kepada behavior modification. Sebab yang dia nak tengok adalah measurable outcome. Kita boleh ukur, kita boleh measure either by performance or by the attitude to the behavior. Dia menunjukkan behavior yang kita nak. Kalau macam Teacher Tony tadi kata, dia boleh masukkan kursi dalam kelas kan. Dia datang awal pergi kelas. Sebab tu yang dibuat di kelas-kelas prasekolah. Dia ada stiker, reward of the month kan. Dia bagi tepuk tangan, siapa yang boleh buat dia tepuk tangan, siapa yang datang awal dia tepuk tangan kan. So because itu yang dia nak measure, dia nak attitude kanak-kanak itu, sikap kanak-kanak itu, attitude yang baik, dia tolong kawan kan. There's some kindergarten dia memang ada reward of the month. So reward of the month itu tak semestinya merujuk kepada achievement academic, but whatever, this is my second daughter masa dia, bila saya pergi sabbatical dekat UK dululah. So dia punya sekolah buat macam tu, dia ada reward of the month. So even budak tu hanya helping a friend, dia akan dapat reward untuk bulan tu. So dia telah menggalakkan banyak sangat sikap-sikap positif dalam kelas tu. Anak saya pernah dapat satu hanya kerana dia dapat keluarkan one simple poem. So this is a measurable outcome yang dia nak. So teacher tu sediakan stimulus untuk mendapatkan respons yang dia nak lah. So the stimulus is actually the reward yang dia bagi. So pre-assessment is also penting. So maksudnya pre-assessment dia patut tahu apa yang kanak-kanak tu tahu, apa yang pelajar tu tahu. Mastering early steps. Macam kita kata tadi driving kan, swimming, one after another skill. Naik basikal ni bukan terus-terus boleh macam basikal lajak tu boleh apa, wheelie kan. Nak wheelie tu dah setengah tahun kot baru boleh wheelie. So it's always a step by step. Satu belajar piano pun belajar key yang mudah kan. So you need to mastery early step. This is what they call as mastery learning. Okay, mastery learning ni, Allah saya terlupa pula siapa mastery learning ni. Kita master satu kemahiran, baru kita boleh pergi kemahiran berikutnya. So mastery learning is example like you are actually learning maths. Okay, kena faham operasi tambah, you need to understand addition. Baru boleh buat operasi tolak. Kan? Kalau tak faham tambah, if you don't understand tambah, operasi tambah, addition, Macam mana kita nak buat operasi tolak? Tak boleh. You need to understand tambah, only then you boleh fahami operasi kali darab. Baru boleh operasi, that what you call by mastery. Kalau pelajar itu tak faham tambah, tak boleh ajar dia darab. You cannot teach them darab. So bila dia darab, dia dah pandai darab, only then you can teach dia multiply. Dia baru boleh buat operasi bahagi. Sebab operasi bahagi itu asasnya adalah sifir, which is darab. Kan? That's what we call by mastery learning. This is emphasized in behaviorism. Satu kemahiran itu perlu dikuasai. You need to master every skill. Okay, one after another, tak boleh lompat-lompat. Okay, strong stimulus response macam kita dah cakap tadi. Okay, so role of the instructor, kita kena, dalam kata lain, saya buat kesimpulan kat bawah ni, the S and R approach, the stimulus and response approach in learning. The teacher need to identify a specific, appropriate stimulus in order for them to get the proper, appropriate response according to the learning outcome yang dia dah aim. So they need to actually design dulu the stimulus, baru dia boleh dapat. So instructor need to create the proper stimulus for specific responses they wanted to observe. Itu yang kita kena buat in a behaviorist learning environment. Okay, this is connectivism. Connectivism is theory, but also let's watch this by teacher Tony. Okay, again. Okay, Wani boleh masukkan dekat Cognitivism, okay.
Lepas dah.
Ya?
Boleh tanya soalan?
Boleh.
On behaviorism tadi.
Ya.
So, do you think behaviorism kills creativity? Macam yang kan Robinson kata, school skill creativity.
Kalau tanya saya lah, if you ask me personally, for me especially the reward tu no. It drives to creativity and it drives the motivation of the student. Macam kelas saya lah. I think because macam kita sekarang ni student kan dia nak grade. Especially kita orang budak pendidikan lah. Budak-budak pendidikan ni they came with good grade. So they always want to maintain a good grade. So macam ada satu assignment saya. There's one assignment at the end of the course, they need to come up with a module, a teaching module. So I divided, it was about 100 something of the student. So I divided into 10 group. So 10 group, and then ada few small groups in the 10 group. Ada group besar 10 and then few small groups. Sebab kita nak bedakkan subjek dalam bahasa Melayu tu banyak kan. Karangan, kefahaman, tata bahasa pun banyak. So I divide the tajuk tu according to the groups. So at the end of the lesson, at the end of the course, they need to come up with a module. So and then kita compile and then we have like one proper teaching module lah. For the whole, semua orang boleh bawa balik. So salah satu cara untuk pastikan bahawa budak-budak ni buat modul tu dengan baik kan. So sebelum tu kita dah ajar dah tentang all the pendekatan 21st century apa semua tu. So kita kata dia kena gunakan all the 21st contextual, constructivist, mastery and so on. So untuk memastikan bahawa akhirnya saya dapat modul yang terbaik. Bukan, cara yang saya buat adalah nanti bila they need to submit assignment tu banyak kali. So bila dia dah buat first draft, bagi kat kita dah tambah semua ke. It happened before lah masa sebelum COVID. So bila dia datang depan kita tu, kita conteng dah siap-siap, kita bagi dah grade siap-siap. C+. Dia balik-balik, dia kata, doktor saya nak repair balik, saya nak buat lain. Saya kata, yes, buat. The grade is yours. You deserve. You get what you give. You bagi saya bintang, you dapat bintang. You bagi saya bunga teh ayam, you dapat bunga teh ayam. You bagi saya bunga ros, you dapat bunga ros. So kita kata pergi bawa balik. So that's how finally I will get, I consider myself as a good module lah yang pelajar tu boleh bawa balik. Caranya ialah dengan macam tu lah. So saya reward dia dengan saya kata saya bagi negative reinforcement. Oh saya kata saya buat ni, saya kata LO salah, ni aktiviti kenapa tak sesuai. Ini boring sangat, orang dah selalu buat, kita pangkal, kita bagi grade. Okay, untuk ni awak dapat C+. Dia tak maulah C+ untuk dia punya tugasan kan, even 10% ke 20%. Doktor nak buat balik. So I think on how the teacher, the instructor kena tailor benda tu lah kot. Betul, behaviorist ni orang selalu kata dia agak ketinggalan zaman, dia more on a modification of tingkah laku. But I think sometimes it works lah even for adult learner. Macam kelas saya lah, cuma kita tak bagilah dia gula-gula apa semua. Saya rasa grade itu pun satu reward untuk dia. Kan kalau kita bagi gula-gula mungkin dia kurang berkesan kan. Sebab saya katakan saya nak bagi gula-gula, kita pun dah tak makan gula-gula. Tapi dia dah tak makan gula-gula tu, sekarang ni dia nak makan Cadbury. So mungkin gula-gula itu tidak berkesan untuk dia, tak motivate dia. Lah gula-gula je kot, aku makan Cadbury. So tapi sebab budak besar, stimulus dia kena lain kan untuk mendapatkan respon yang berbeza. So instead of bagi dia gula-gula reward macam tu, saya bagi dia kalau macam kanak-kanak prasekolah, that's why dia ada banyak stiker. Dia bagi stiker senyum lah, stiker love lah, apa semua kan. Barulah dia buat. Saya rasa this is actually happen in our learning now. Sebab kita connect dengan pelajar kita 24/7. Budak-budak sekarang ni boleh bebas untuk WhatsApp dan teks kita untuk tanya soalan. So kadang-kadang bila dia tanya kita soalan, saya selalulah kalau dengan student saya kata yes, saya bagi emoji love lah, emoji tangan lah, emoji good lah kan. So lepas tu kita tengok nanti dia akan datang balik pada kita untuk tanya. So dan dia akan memberi hasil kerja yang lebih baik. So I think for me, it depends on the instructor lah. Macam saya cakap tadi, ada somebody say also bergantung kepada siapa dan keadaan situasi murid pelajar. Betul. Sebab saya rasa dia bergantung sejauh mana kita boleh manipulate. Sebab kita faham kan, pelajar-pelajar pun dia suka benda-benda macam tu. This is what also my LM student are also doing sekarang ni and what they did before masa LM. Dia bagi reward-reward macam tu kepada pelajar supaya budak-budak tu rasa seronok. Dia buat kerja, so kalau dia buat group work tu sebab dia tahu siapa yang dapat present macam budak-budak, contohnya macam sekolah Bukit Campur. Sekolah Bukit Campur ni sekolah anak orang kaya-kaya kan. Lepas tu saya cakap dengan budak-budak LM, you ni bukan ada duit pun, janganlah nak pergi beli coklat yang bukan-bukan lah kan, yang mahal-mahal kan. So saya kata pergi beli je lah coklat yang biasa-biasa. Surprisingly Prof, sebab dia orang tu budak anak-anak orang kaya-kaya kot, selama ni dia orang makan coklat mahal kot, dia orang makan biskut mahal, coklat mahal, gula-gula mahal. So saya ingat ada sekali tu anak murid saya beli, kalau semua orang boleh ingat lah yang macam jagung tu, cekedi jagung tu. Kan, 2 batang jagung tu. So dia bawa lah benda tu untuk bagi. Budak-budak tu cakap, cikgu sangat sedap, dia orang suka. So saya kata, bagi benda tu saja pun dah reward. Tapi itu untuk budak sekolah lah, sesuai lah dia bagi. Macam saya kat universiti mungkin tak sesuai. Sebab tu saya kata saya gunakan grade as stimulus lah. So macam Prof kata tadi, pelajar bergantung kepada pelajar dan situasi. Kan pelajar yang masih baru dalam bidang dipelajari perlu diajar dan ditunjuk, yes, which is true. Proses ni akan mengambil masa, kita improve pendekatan pengajaran mengikut peningkatan kefahaman. Betul, creativity akan muncul selepas pelajar faham. Sebab tu saya rasa yang penting kita kena blend, sebab kalau nak bagi faham, sebab tu kena ada connectivist. Connectivist ni, okay, mari kita dengar apa connectivist cakap. Stop sharing.
If you're an education provider, you don't need a huge budget, you don't need a lot of time, and you don't need a big branding in order to get more students for your business.
Okay, wait. Saya kena start sharing. Oh, ni behaviorism. Okay, start. Okay, let's listen to Connectivism.
Meet Teacher Tony. Teacher Tony is concerned about teaching long division. Most of his students can't seem to understand the concept and how to do it. Teacher Tony needs help.
I can't get my students to learn long division.
Why don't you use cognitivism to help you teach a difficult subject like long division?
What's cognitivism?
Cognitivism is a learning theory that focuses on how information is received, organized, stored, and retrieved by the mind.
What?
Cognitivism views the mind as an information processor, like a computer. For example, in the classroom, instruction should be organized, sequenced, and presented in a manner that is understandable and meaningful to the learner. Cognitivism emphasizes retention and recall through the use of quality teaching practices.
Huh?
You've probably seen cognitivism at work and didn't even know it. Cognitivism is often used in developing classroom lessons and helping students learn higher order thinking skills. Common examples include starting a lesson with a hook to create interest, activating prior knowledge by beginning a lesson with a review quiz, chunking information into comprehensible and digestible parts, using graphic organizers to help structure and relate content. These are all examples of cognitivism at work in a classroom. Now let's see if we can apply the principles of cognitivism to help solve Teacher Tony's problem. First, Teacher Tony needs to decide what skills students need in order to understand long division.
Dr. Fazilah, bila mute, suara tak dengar di sini.
For the steps of long division, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. He also creates a color-coded poster that walks students through the long division process step by step. If students get stuck, they can look at this poster to help cue their memory. After implementing these principles of cognitivism, Teacher Tony's students are doing a much better job of understanding, retaining, and recalling the long division process.
Using cognitivism really helped my students learn long division.
If you are wanting to teach difficult content in your class, you can use cognitivism to help solve your problem.
Okay, that's what cognitivism all about. Okay, so saya akan share balik saya punya screen. Okay, so that itu adalah cognitivism. So kalau cognitivism, behaviorism is focus more on the behavior modification. But cognitivism is the words from the word cognitive. Okay, so cognitive ni kita tahu is something to do with mental. Okay, with mind, with otak. So cognitive theory stress the acquisition of knowledge and internal mental structure dalam kepala kita. Alright, the student's learning process. Okay, proses yang berlaku dalam kepala pelajar on how the information is received, mereka menerima maklumat itu, they organize the information, okay, they store the information and finally they could retrieve back the information by the mind. So that's why in order to do this, for the student to learn to process the information from receive until retrieve back the information, we need to do the mental activity, okay, dalam kepala budak. That's why the learning theories of connectivism, dia fokus kepada making knowledge meaningful and helping learners organize and relate new information to existing knowledge in memory by doing this. Ni, yang ditunjukkan oleh Teacher Tony tadi. Kan, student existing mental structure schema yang ada dalam ni sebab kita nak dia organize information. Contohnya kita nak kata, sejarah again history, faktor-faktor yang menyebabkan Portugis jatuh ke tangan Melaka. Melaka kalah ke tangan Portugis. Factors, okay, the factors, okay. So as a teacher, I could structure the factors into faktor penolak, faktor penarik. What are the faktor penolak yang menyebabkan Melaka kalah? What are faktor penarik yang ada pada Portugis? Ataupun saya nak cakap tentang masyarakat jahiliah. Okay, ciri-ciri, the characteristics of masyarakat jahiliah. So I could organize the information into few subtopics. Economy, politics, social, contohnya kerohanian. So when we divide the things, kita simplify the knowledge. So jadi itu yang berlaku dalam kepala anak-anak kita. Kita minta dia susun. Macam saya selalu cakap, bila kita susun, lipat baju lah. Okay, bila kita basuh baju, okay, kita basuh baju, kita basuh ada t-shirt lah, ada seluar kan, ada handkerchief, right? Ada t-shirt, ada kemeja. Okay, so untuk susun baju tu, kita akan asingkan, betul tak? Dalam almari kita ada kompartmen. Okay, this one is for kemeja, kita hang. Okay, for t-shirt, kita masukkan dekat tempat t-shirt. Okay, untuk kain pelikat, ada tempat kain pelikat, kain batik ada tempat dia. Okay, kalau benda kecil-kecil kita punya underwear, there's a drawer. Okay, untuk kita ada drawer kita, untuk husband ada drawer husband. So bila nak pakai baju, kita buka almari, kita terus ambil je. Kalau kita tak susun, baju tu semua kita dari dalam satu bakul, dari dalam mesin basuh tu, kita sidai daripada ampaian tu, kita masuk put down in all a basket. Bila kita nak pakai baju, saya hari ni nak pergi main badminton. So saya kena cari seluar panjang, track satu, saya kena cari t-shirt untuk bersukan, t-shirt bersukan, and saya nak kena cari saya punya anak-anak kecil, you know. So I have to dig in a basket. Nak keluarkan semua, campak buang, baru jumpa t-shirt. Oh, baru jumpa seluar track shoe. So it is not organised and it make me suffer. So kalau saya dah susun, saya tahu saya nak pergi main badminton. In case I'm not at home, I need my daughter to actually take for me. I can just ask, okay, could you please take a set of saya punya proper attire because I want to play badminton. My daughter would know, okay, ni. Kita cakap, okay, ambil ni. They can simply take for you. Tapi if all the things are actually dalam satu bakul, macam mana dia nak pilih? So this is the cognitive people believe in learning. So in order to help the student learn, okay, to retain the memory, the knowledge from short-term memory, okay, yang kita bagi to a longer time memory, you need to actually structure their mind. So this is, kita kena guna banyak cognitive strategies. Framing, outlining, mnemonic, concept mapping, advanced organizer. Like sekarang ni orang ada I-think. Kalau pendidikan, education kat sekolah-sekolah dia pergunakan I-think. Peta pemikiran I-think. Okay, peta pemikiran I-think ni ada 8 jenis peta pemikiran. There are 8 types of thinking map. Okay, I-think. There are 8 type of thinking map. So bila peta pemikiran ini, saya masih gunakan even di universiti. Sebab ada peta, there are one type of peta which appropriate and proper to explain process. Dia nak explain process. Okay, lepas A jadi B. That's one peta. That's one peta is appropriate to explain the compare and contrast. Ada satu peta yang boleh menunjukkan perbezaan dan persamaan, the compare and contrast. There's one peta that could show you throwing out an idea, sumbang saran. So by using that, you are actually teaching your student to organize the information. So tak adalah dia kita masukkan semua maklumat tu dalam kepala, dia bersepah dalam kepala. Bila dia bersepah dalam kepala, analogi dia macam baju dalam bakul tadi lah. Bila bersepah dalam kepala, bila dia nak jawab exam, dia nak kena kirai, dia kena duduk 2 jam dalam exam hall tu, dia kena kirai kepala otak dia nak keluarkan. Tapi kalau kita dah structure dia, so dia benda tu is a visual image kan, mental map, senang. Dan banyak kajian telah menunjukkan bahawa visual itu lebih baik dalam bentuk teks. Saya tak ambil pula petikan itu. Yang mengatakan bahawa image visual yang kita visualizekan dalam bentuk infografik, peta, jadual dan sebagainya lebih mudah diingat berbanding dengan fakta yang ditulis panjang-panjang. One whole page of faktor-faktor, ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah one whole page of information about ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah, I can simplify in just using one infographic. So if I want to sit for an exam, I would prefer read from infographic because my mind, mata saya can grasp the information, the infographic better than the whole text. This is what the cognitivist people believe. In order to help the student learning, you need to help the student to structure their thinking by giving and applying various of cognitive strategies. Sekarang ni banyak kan infografik lagi macam-macam. So by applying those cognitive strategies, it helps the student to actually they receive the information, dia store information tu, but before dia store, dia manage the information tu dulu. And then dia boleh store dalam bentuk baru, dalam bentuk visual image, and then only then bila dia nak retrieve information tu akan jadi lebih mudah. This is the underlying assumption in connectivist punya perspektif. So untuk connectivist berbeza dengan constructivist. Connectivist percaya mental itu is dominant, sangat diperlukan dalam proses pembelajaran. You need to think because when I receive the information, I read the text, okay, and then I know which actually the cognitive strategy proper with this content. Adakah ini satu proses? So I may choose a appropriate cognitive strategies to transfer my knowledge from text into graphic. So if this is a sebab and akibat, okay, consequences and sequel, okay, I should choose a proper cognitive strategy. If I compare and contrast, there's also a proper cognitive strategy that could help me to transfer my notes from writing notes, one whole page of writing into just a small infographic visual. So it make me understand better and the knowledge will retain in my long-term memory instead of text. Okay, this is what it means. This is what the connectivist people believe. Okay, this is what they mean. They need to first, second, finally you sequence the knowledge. Okay, kalau dalam pendidikan, this is what we call as analysis pengajaran. When we want to teach the children, when we want to teach the student, we need to do the content analysis. Okay, so this is what I strongly tell my student. This is what you need to do. You need to understand the whole topic. So after you understand the whole topic, you need to summarize the topic using whatever cognitive strategies. Okay, that could actually reflect back the notes. Okay, because when you do the content analysis, when you do the analysis of your content, you are actually chunking your content. Okay, you chunk from the big topic to the subtopic to the subtopic to the subtopic. So it's much easier for you to explain. I will explain this. Okay, let's say, sorry, I don't think of that before when I prepare a slide. So let's say, you have an A topic. An A topic, after you do the content analysis, it could divide into two subtopics, 1 and 2. The content one, it could also divide into another 3 factor, the X, Y, Z. And the 2 topic, it can also divide into 2 factor, M and N. So you have a framework of what you want to teach. Okay, so for me today, if I want to teach, I will teach the part 1, the ABC first. And then later, for my next lesson, I will teach the 2 and the M and N. So I will have a very clear picture on knowledge that I want to impart to my student. Okay, so if I'm clear with what I want to teach, I believe my student will definitely easily grasp the knowledge. This is what we want in teaching. So in order to plan a proper instruction, the first thing is we as an instructor need to do the content analysis. Kita chunkkan isi-isi pengajaran kita. Like history, like I said, ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah, I can teach the ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah macam tu. But it's good for me if I could actually subtopic the ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah into Ciri pertama physical. Ciri kedua is economy. Ciri ketiga is politik. Ciri keempat ialah agama. So for my today lesson, I will tell, so for my first lesson, I will tell overview of the topic. I'll tell my student, okay, we are learning about, our next lesson is about ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah. There are altogether 5 factors of ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah. I present in a form of table, in a form of diagram. Okay, ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah got, okay, 1, 2, 3, peta minda and so on. Okay, so for today's lesson, I will only focus on these 2, ciri physical and ciri economy. So the student will understand that they only learn a half of the part of ciri masyarakat jahiliah. And then tomorrow for my next lesson, again, I can present them the same table. Okay, this is all that we learned through this topic, is ciri-ciri masyarakat jahiliah. This is what we did yesterday, the 2 factors. And today, we are continuing in explaining, I will explain to you another 3 more factors. So it makes easy for you actually to teach, and it make easy also for your student to grasp the information. And you also, by doing that, like what Dr. Andika mentioned before, the student could also learn, tiru from you. They could see how organized and systematic the lecturer is. So they will also learn on how to organize the teaching, how to organize their content. Okay, and then you can use. And then nowadays student, don't worry because they are so clever. Budak-budak sekarang ni semuanya di hujung jari. That's why one of my assignment, finally I suruh dia tukar benda tu into infographic. Okay, so this is the underlying assumption of Cognitivism. Alright. So individuals bring various learning experiences. So as the instructor, the important things is we need to determine the most effective manner in which to organize and structure the information. Because we want the short term and it retain in the student memory to finally is a long term memory. Okay. Okay, this is a comparison between these 2, the behaviorism and the cognitivism. Basic idea, the behaviorism is the stimulus and response model, reinforcement and punishment. The cognitivism is internal mental process, the working memory, long-term memory. That's why the, okay, I should add another one more column here. Okay, because cognitivism, because that's why we need those, if the behaviorism, we need reinforcement and punishment. That's where the sticker, the good reward, good word coming in, okay? But because cognitivism is all about mental process, that's where we need all the cognitive strategy here, okay? So we need to have like the infographic, the mind map and everything, because we need to teach the student on how to, when they receive the information, they know how to actually structure the information. They can store the information and later they can retrieve the information. The theories are by Ivan Pavlov and Skinner. This is by Piaget and Vygotsky. The instructor role is to structure to trigger the proper responses. Okay, so they need to design a proper stimulus in order to get a proper response. But for cognitivism, provide learning environment to connect new and previous knowledge and also to use the cognitive strategy. So the learner roles are actually passive because they are stimulus response situation. As a blank state, mind is not necessary for learning, but instead the cognitivism is active because receive, transform. The notes that are actually in a text form, they need to transform the notes into a graphic, okay, infographic and whatever, and then only then they can retrieve the information. So for the, if behaviorism, it covers Bloom taxonomy, the low level of Bloom taxonomy, which is remembering and understanding. I remember how to drive, understand. I understand now why I need to balance myself when I'm cycling. Okay, I remember this is what I should do when I want to drive a car. This is, okay, how I need to adjust my seat, you know, the mirror. And I remember that. But in cognitivism, I could analyze the content. In order to transform from text to infographic, I need to read the whole text. I need to read the whole text, so I need to understand the text. I need to analyze the content. So I could also, from the text, I could differentiate the factors. This is the economical factors, this is political factors, this is social factors, this is faktor agama, kan? So I need to read and I need to analyze the text. So I need finally to synthesis my ideas and transform into infographic. That's where your mental is actually working. You need to process the information. So if, according to Bloom taxonomy, the students are doing the higher level thinking skill, which need them to analyze the content, they need to synthesis, they need to evaluate, and finally, maybe some in connectivism, they can create a new diagram to represent. If we have like same topic, same text, we are given to 5 groups, okay, giving to the 5 groups and asking the student, okay, read the whole passage, and I want you to transform the knowledge, this passage, the information in a passage, to your own graphic designer, to your own infographic, okay? You are free to choose your infographic as long as it could represent the whole idea of the text. So I'm sure you will get 5 different infographic from your student. So in order to come out with that, to create that infographic, they need to do all this higher order thinking skill. They need to read the text, they need to analyze the text, they need to synthesis their readings and writing. They need to finally evaluate which is it true, this factor is economic factor, this is a political factor. They need to evaluate, and finally only then they can receive back the information and they could present to you the whole information about one whole passage. This is the differences between behaviorism and connectivism. Okay, any question? Okay, any question before we spend like few minutes on how to apply in a classroom? Let me look at the chat box.
Can I make some comment?
Yes, Prof. Han.
I'm beginning to understand it, but maybe we can always challenge, kan? These are all theories that can be challenged.
Yes.
For example, behaviorism and reward tadi. I go back to sincerity in learning lah, because when you give an example on student will only learn when there is student will attempt to do something when they are grades, when they are graded, or when they are credit. For example lah, kat universiti ni bila ada credit baru mereka nak ambil. Otherwise they don't. So I think we can argue and discuss on perhaps macam mana we want to change their behavior lah. Because I tried this also in my class this semester. I have a forum in e-learning. The first every week I give a different question in the forum. So the first week and second week only 1 or 2 students responded. Okay, so then I said, why don't you all? I said because this course is not calculation. Being an engineer is not calculation. It's about descriptive and so on. So I want to use that forum to encourage them. So since it didn't work, the third week I said I may give them grades. So the words may give them grade though change the behavior lah. Everybody started to give their views. So I wonder if that is the behavior of learning and approach towards learning, we have problem with the future of our society lah. Lifelong learning means we want to find knowledge, like all of us perhaps are enrolling into this course. I hope not because of my CPD lah, tapi because we want to learn about the theory of learning. But if that is happening to our students, we worry lah about lifelong learning punya objectives and the keikhlasan dalam menuntut ilmu tu. And then what's more worrying is when we want them to apply it lah, which I do not know. We have to wait for constructivism maybe. what is their ability to actually use their knowledge accordingly and understand gaps in their knowledge profile. And lifelong learning is about that lah. I enroll into this course because I know it's a gap. Kita dah ngajar 25 tahun tapi kita tak tahu pasal teori. So I know the gap that I have and alhamdulillah I try to learn. Tapi I wonder if our student kalaulah menggunakan behaviorism punya teori, they don't feel compelled to do, and that's why we have this CPD in the professional industry, in professional punya field. Dia kena ada that carrot for them to learn. So I think maybe this is one of the major weaknesses of behaviorism lah kot. You know, cognitivism ni, I think whatever we give, it's something that they will receive. Tapi the urge, the niat untuk belajar tu yang menjadi isu lah. Itulah just for the sake of argument lah. Thank you.
Yes, Prof, I do agree with you. I think this is what irony lah. We are looking towards, we are now we are moving toward the 22nd century, not more 21st century kan, living soon. We are talking about connectivism, constructivism. And connectivism in a class. Kita dah menggalakkan kepada constructivism macam Prof kata, which is true, betul. Kan kita nak, sebab tu kita kata kita tak nak, sama kita puji-puji budak dia apa buat. They learn for the sake of they want to gain knowledge, not for the sake of they want a grade. The grade will come later. Kalau budak-budak tu faham, kalau dia belajar dengan baik, the grade will come later. Kemudian akan dapat grade tu kan. But because I think because of the system that drive us all crazy, I think, sorry to say kan, sebab kita, I think the system lah, macam kat asrama ni, dekat universiti ni, because I also from USM juga, I did my degree here in USM. So, untuk masuk aktiviti, budak-budak masuk aktiviti bukan dia nak masuk, dia nak buat aktiviti kesukarelawanan, atau dia nak buat bakti siswa tu ke dia nak masuk sukat tu, bukan sebab, ada lah, tapi very small portion of the student who do that because of their interest, their passion on it. Tapi kebanyakan budak-budak ni dia masuk sebab dia nak unit desa, bukan CPD, kita pencara CPD, student panggil apa dia kena apa panggil nama tu kan,
MyCSD.
MyCSD, because they want MyCSD. Myself also, because I run a lot of project, okay, I run a lot of project, my course, okay, with other also NGOs outside. So bila kita nak buat, nanti kita tanya, I need volunteers, okay. I could see some of the students are so into it. Memang ada passion untuk, get involved in many activities because they said, because I'm going to be a teacher, I want to be a skillful, experienced teacher. So the university time is a place where I could gain as much experience as I can. Okay, so in order for me to be a great teacher, there are some students like that because they will enter almost all your program, will be very volunteer. But there are students will come in and ask you, Doktor, berapa banyak CPD dapat? My CSD dapat berapa? They're asking for that. So I think because of the system that we create, make us patah balik kepada zaman dulu. Sepatutnya kita ajak budak-budak tu buat constructivist. Kita nak construct the knowledge. So the knowledge will retain longer if they construct by their own. Dia buat sendiri projek tu, dia masuk kampung kan. So kita rasa kalau dia buat projek-projek community atau projek-projek social ni, dia could change the attitude kan, values bahawa dia kena menghargai orang-orang susah, ramai orang miskin kat sekeliling ni. So ada duit bukan untuk dibazirkan, konsep sedekah dan sharing and so on lah, contohnya macam tu kan. Kita harap macam tu, by doing that, by get involved themselves in a society, this what they will learn kan, the attitude, the sikap, behavior. I remember a project I did in one of my course. Okay, so kita, it's a green project. So kita pergi kat sekolah tu, and then sekolah tu kata mereka nak buat green project, mereka nak buat taman. So many of my group, so kita send to different school. So few of my students cakap, saya tak pernah pegang cangkul. Saya kata, mujur lah awak ambil kursus saya, kalau tidak sampai mati pun tak pegang cangkul. Dia boleh cakap, saya tak pernah pegang cangkul, doktor. Because the main purpose of the project is a green project, so kita nak kena tanam pokok, you know. Sebab kita kata dia going to be teachers, so they need to experience this in the university. So bila dia balik sekolah, they have ideas on how to green the school. So dia kata ada yang kata menyapu, bila dia menyapu pun kita nampak kekok. Saya tak pernah, saya jarang menyapu. So kita pun tak boleh imagine kat bilik dia pun dia tak sapu ke, kan? Doktor, saya tak pernah menyangkul, kan? So kita nak bila dia pergi buat project tu, those are new skill, new experience that they will learn and they could use later in their life. Tapi saya pun percaya some of the student buat project tu because they really want to do it, they love it, they have passion in it. But some of the student yang dia buat because they want grade. Sebab kita, I think we could also kan, kita semua orang tua kan, by looking at the student, we know student yang macam Prof cakap lah, very sincere ataupun I buat ni purposely because I want this. Kan, I think in lecturing world nowadays pun macam tu. KPI, SKT, KPI, SKT, KPI, SKT. So lecturers ni kita pun macam buat kerja tapi nak kena capai, finally at the end of the day, dia nak tanya KPI berapa banyak, berapa banyak. Sorry Prof, this is I know quite sensitive, but finally. So the system actually that drive us. So things that motivate us untuk jadi pensyarah is nak dapat KPI, nak dapat SKT, nak kena capai KPI, SKT. Kan, so bagaimanakah keikhlasan kita untuk mengajar to deliver content to the student. Kan, ikhlas kita, kesungguhan kita. Sebab pada masa yang sama, kita juga ada perkara lain yang kita kena grasp kan. So saya rasa tu yang saya rasa ironinya dalam dunia pendidikan hari ni lah. I think because the system is slowly killing us lah, whether we realize it or not lah. So looking at my children also sekarang ni and looking at my own student also sekarang ni, ada sekali satu tugasan tu because every semester they need to come up with mini module. And dia kena buat, jadi budak-budak tu kena buat banyak kali, ulang kali jumpa kita. Saya pun letih, dia pun letih. Tapi kita rasa I want them to gain a skill on how to come up with mini module lah. So bila nak mengajar besok dia tahu. That's one student come and see me, dia kata, doktor kenapa kita susah-susah nak buat benda-benda ni semua? Dia kata besok kat sekolah mengajar ikut buku teks je. I was like, oh my god. And then I told her, I pray so hard, anak saya besok awak tak jadi cikgu anak saya tak jumpa cikgu macam awak. Saya cakap depan dia. Dan saya kata saya harap awak tak jadi cikgu anak saya. I don't want this type of teachers lah in teaching my daughter. Saya kata, it will kill the spirit of learning in my daughter. Dia kata, apa kita nak belajar susah-susah doktor? So nampak sangat dia belajar pun untuk grade kan. Ada budak yang really appreciate, they enjoy the things, they learn new things kan. So macam Prof kata lah, akhirnya dia balik kepada diri kita kan. So macam saya percaya orang-orang yang masuk untuk dengar CDE punya talk ni, those are people who a lifelong learner lah. Sebab nak kata my CPD ni, kita ikut program-program kat school pun kadang-kadang kita dah dapat dah CPD point kita. Tapi why you are still coming and listen? Sebab program kita buat MQA lah, BPK kat school, kita dah dapat dah kan kita punya CPD point. Tapi you still come and listen to various kan. And why CDE keep promoting lots of webinar series? Kenapa? Sebab there's always a demand from lecturers. It shows that ramai lagi pensyarah kita yang always hunger for knowledge. They are a lifelong learner lah. Dia datang untuk dia belajar. Sebab like Prof Gam kata tadi, as a lecturer, as a teacher, we never stop learning kan. So hopefully lah, we thank you. So we need to thanks to Prof Azida and also Prof Karim lah. He's not around. So please sampaikan pada Prof Karim, Prof Azida bahawa apa yang CDE buat is actually good lah. So dia mendidik pensyarah-pensyarah kita untuk jadi lifelong learner. And sebab topik-topik yang diberi adalah very updated. Sebab kita nampak topik-topik yang terkini kan, towards connectivism, semua pasal iPad lah, apa semua lah, assessment lah, all around kan. Cuma kita ada masa dan kita tak ada masa je nak nak join talk ni. Ada kelas lah dan sebagainya. Alright, thank you Prof. Thank you Prof for your opinion. So my plan, so your plan. Okay, so kalau kita nak plan, kita punya lectures into behaviorist or constructivist, okay, macam Prof Karim kata tadi, it should blend. So kita kena look back kita punya instructional plan, perancangan khusus kita kan. So kita tengok balik kita punya learning objective. So kita tengok kita punya learning taxonomy kan. Ini semua orang dah pakar dah. Kita masa Prof Arhan hari tu asyik kerja duk buat MQA saja kan. Asyik kerja duk repair BPK saja kan. So kita identify kita punya learning taxonomy. Adakah matlamat objektif yang pertama untuk cognitive domain, attitude domain, dan psychomotor domain. And then berdasarkan kepada learning taxonomy itu, baru kita kena sesuaikan learning activities kita to suit our learning objective. This is one thing good about MQA and semakan curriculum. Because all this while, saya rasalah kebanyakan kita pensyarah, kita plan je aktiviti kita. Tajuk kuliah macam-macam, tugasan macam-macam without looking to the aims of and objective of the course. So sekarang ni barulah kita semua bertaubat kan Prof, patah balik kan. Baru kita patah balik, kita tengok balik. Kita kena tengok betul kan dulu kita punya learning objective according to program objective kan, program outcome. So kita kena tailor kita punya learning objective according to program outcome. Dari situ nanti barulah kita boleh sesuaikan learning activity kita dengan kita punya learning objective. And assessment also sesuai dengan kita punya learning objective. Saya nak tunjuk saya punya tapi saya takut. Sebab bila saya buat slide ni, saya tak sangka Prof Farhan akan ada dalam kursus ni kan. So this is my contoh saya punya course outline lah, okay. Satu kursus that I'm teaching this semester is kemahiran membaca, menulis dan mengeri pendidikan khas for special children. So this is the hasil penilaian, hasil pengajaran khusus. Dia menghuraikan panduan diagnose, kesukaran membaca, menulis dan mengira kanak-kanak. Objektif yang pertama, pelajar dapat menghuraikan panduan untuk diagnose. Bagaimana nak mengesan kanak-kanak yang ada kesukaran dalam membaca, menulis. And then the second is ada 3 kemahiran, 3M, 3 kemahiran asas yang perlu dikuasai oleh kanak-kanak pendidikan khas ni, membaca, menulis dan mengira. So saya nak rangkumkan pelajar saya dapat merangkumkan ketiga-tiga kemahiran ini dalam satu aktiviti yang sesuai. Dan yang ketiga, dia boleh melaksanakan aktiviti yang sesuai bersama kanak-kanak. So these are actually the pentaksiran untuk menghuraikan the learning outcome is a cognitive. Okay. So C2, if according to kita punya pakar MQA dekat PPIP, kami ramai pakar MQA. Dr. Tato, Dr. Azidah, okay. So because this is first year course. Okay, ni PPK 221 adalah khusus yang diambil oleh pelajar tahun 1, semester kedua tahun 1 pendidikan khas. So the cognitive domain should be lower level lah. So this is just a C2 because dia hanya menghuraikan. Belum sampai tahap dia boleh menghasilkan sebab according to our expert MQA in our school, the higher level should be when they are in a form third year or final year or also during their master. Okay, so the term kat sini, verb yang kita gunakan kat sini hurai, they can explain. So the learning taxonomy here is a cognitive, okay? If according to kita punya expert also, learning taxonomy ni tak boleh banyak. Tak boleh ada C kat sini, ada A kat sini, ada psychomotor kat sini. Sebab nanti kita akan ada masalah macam mana kita nak taksir. Banyak sangat kita nak taksir. Kalau saya ada C2 kat sini, saya ada A2 kat sini kan. So macam mana saya nak taksir C2? How do I measure my C2? How can I measure my A2? So it's advisable for us to have only one learning taxonomy for each of the learning outcome. Okay, so the second one is also cognitive, dia merangkumkan. And the third one is effective. Effective sebab dia boleh menunjukkan sikap sebagai seorang guru. So how to measure that is by they doing the project. So this is the tugasan because convert into 100% coursework. So menghasilkan buku cerita is for tugasan 3. Which is tugasan 3 kat sini yang tadi untuk to achieve this learning outcome. Dia merangkumkan ketiga-tiga kemahiran. So what the student need to do is they need to come up with a storybook. That's what I mean by our story sets. So in that storybook, it's a simple storybook about 10 to 15 pages of story. Very few character, very few words, okay? It's a story for the small children. But in that story, you could teach the children a simple language, learning, writing and mathematics. Let's say, I'm teaching a student about cerita sang gagak yang kehausan. You remember the gagak yang haus tu, and then they need to put pebbles in the jar, only then the gagak can drink water. So by creating a storybook, I want my student to show that they could teach the 3 skills, okay? The mathematics skills, writing skills, and also reading skills. So the reading skill will be, they will read, you know. So you will identify suku kata, okay. That one is a reading. For the menulis, there will be a writing exercise after that. It depends on the children. It depends on the problem of the children, okay. So maybe they can just color, okay, or they can just combining the dot and finally it become a gagak, okay. And for the mathematics, when I did this for the mathematics, because the gagak need to put the pebbles in the jar, okay? So we count the pebbles together with the student. One, see the water going up or not? And then put another pebble, see the water going up or not? That's where the mathematics comes in. So in order to achieve this learning objective, they could merangkumkan ketiga-tiga kemahiran. So for do that, to achieve that, they need to come up with a storybook, okay? And then the second one is, the second assignment is they need to melaksanakan aktiviti bercerita secara interaktif. This one, they create the storybook. The second one is that storybook, they need to do a storytelling session with the children where when they tell a story, they could do this activity, the reading activity, the writing activity, and also mathematics activity. The reading activity, they can ask the student to actually spell the word, pronounce the word correctly, gagak. Okay, paruh. I did this with small children, okay? There are some children cannot even pronounce paruh. Paruh. They cannot, it surprised me. Gagak. Gagak. They cannot pronounce the word gagak. They pronounce gagak. Gagak. You have to hold the children, make the children look at you and see your mouth. Gagak. That's what it means by when I do my storytelling session, I could have the session of reading with my children. Okay, either they pronounce the word, okay, read the words from the books, and because we have like 3 literacy activities regarding these 3 kemahiran, okay. And the menulis is after this exercise, after this storytelling, we will do some writing exercise, okay. And during the exercise also, we can do also the writing exercise. Okay, the gagak is from the word G. Okay, tulis atas angin huruf G. Semua ikut cikgu tulis G. Tulis atas angin tu kan G. This is what the children will do. And the mathematics, okay, pebbles, okay. So when I did the storytelling session with the children, I make the children to actually queue up, and each of the children hold their own pebbles, okay. So they one by one put the pebbles in the jar. So they, and then we mark on the the water level. So this is where the mathematics coming in. So this is in order to achieve the HPK 3, melaksanakan aktiviti. And the learning taxonomy is actually effective. Okay. And method is actually pilih satu daripada 3 kemahiran. The 3 kemahiran. Okay. Hasilkan satu penulisan yang dapat menjelaskan dengan baik punca kaedah diagnosis. Okay. For tugasan 03. For tugasan 03. Because they need to identify a proper diagnose process in reading, writing, or mathematics. So for this assignment, I need them only to choose one of the skills. And finally, in order to make them read from the reference, because otherwise it'll be a cut and paste assignment. I don't want a cut and paste assignment because they can find the information all under their fingertips, right? Type aja, pakcik Google akan bagi all the information. So in order to avoid that, I can just stop into this, okay? Menghasilkan satu penulisan yang dapat menjelaskan dengan baik punca, kaedah, diagnosis, strategi yang sesuai dalam mengajar. So choose one skill, okay? Contoh membaca, only suku kata, okay, KV, only that, okay. So they have to find ataupun huruf, membezakan huruf B dan D, okay? They need to teach student how to differentiate the B and D, because the B and D is similar, okay? Bila dalam kita balikkan nampak sama kan? Okay, I can just stop on that. But in order to avoid them do the copy and paste, I need them to transfer those information in one infographic. So they will send me an assignment of 4 to 5 pages, I think, is according to the numbers, according to the MQA. And finally, 1 page of infographic that represent the whole 5 or 6 pages of the writings. This is actually tugasan 03 for this one. To achieve tugasan 03, to achieve this learning outcome, untuk menghuraikan panduan mendiagnose yang sesuai, okay? So by doing that, I know they understand, they know a specific strategies, okay? And the last one is actually quiz, 2 quiz in Italian is 10%, 10%, 3 quiz. It's a 0-4. Okay, the 0-4 is actually because we need them to have knowledge about what is diagnosis, what are actually the kesukaran, the disabilities in reading, writings, and mathematics. Okay, so this is how I align my teaching, and this is where when I ask them, the student, to do this, because this is 100% coursework, I hope there's behaviorist and cognitivist coming in. This is the cognitivist part, okay? This is the cognitivist part where they need to mental map their ideas, okay, their writings in one infographic, okay? So this is the quiz are also, if according to teacher Tony, is also a cognitivist, okay, because it's a drilling process. You are drilling your student for them to actually to retain the knowledge by giving quizzes, okay? You are helping the student to retain the knowledge. Menghasilkan sebuah buku cerita dan melaksanakan aktiviti bercerita, okay, that's where the connectivist and also the behaviorist come in. The connectivist, because when they want to come up with a storybook, we provide them with a storyboard. They have like some structure they need to follow in order to come up with a storybook, okay? So this is how I plan, and actually for this lecture, for this one also, there's also connectivists and constructivists coming in. But purpose for this lecture, I'm showing how by designing my teaching, my instruction according to my learning outcome, I could embed and blend the two behaviorists and cognitivists in my teaching strategies. Okay, any question? Few more minutes left. If you have problem, okay, this one is feedback. 2 jam 30 minit. Thank you for the constructive alignment effort. Thank you, Prof. Okay. Okay, any question? Anybody want to say anything? Is it clear? So I hope today's session okay. So I hope at the end of the day of today's session, I hope you could discuss the theories of learning. At least all of you have some ideas on what is behaviorist and what is connectivist, okay? And you could identify also special characteristic of behaviorism and cognitivism. And behaviorist, you know what is behaviorist? Is reinforcement, is the reward, is behavior modification, okay? Is the learning is gradually, okay? It's a mastery step one by one. Okay, cognitivism is totally about mental, it's a mental structure, it's helping students to retain the knowledge, okay? And you could finally plan an instruction based on the behaviorism and cognitivism learning perspective. Is it, anybody have anything to ask? Is it clear? Hopefully, the sharing to do enlighten all of you. The video will be uploaded. Yeah, yes. I think the that one is okay. The CD. Any question? Any question, class? Okay. The art of filmmaking is something you learn through action. Okay. By doing it, not by learning the theories. So as you do it, your mind starts to change. Okay. So I end up my session by this quote by Alejandro Jodorowsky.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Fazila. Kesiannya mendengar suara yang tersekat-sekat tu. Alright. Alright. So thank you for highlighting us about behaviorists and cognitivists. So we have been exposed to stimulus and response actually, as well as the cognitive process from recalling, transforming, storing, and actually retrieving information. All right, so we are going to have part 2 on the 21st April 2021, okay, next Wednesday, on constructivists and connectivists. All right, so meaning that the part 1 exposes us to two learning theories, and we are going to be exposed to another 2 learning theories, whereby actually most of us sometimes we do not actually realize that we are using these learning theories in our classroom, okay, in our teaching. So I think this is a good exposure to non-educational lecturers. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fazila. So I hope that, you know, the participant has gained so much knowledge on learning theories, and please do join us next time on part 2 on the 21st April 2021. All right, so that's it. Thank you very much, and please do fill in the feedback forms. The link is on the chat box. All right, so please do okay, it is now here on the screen. All right, please fill in the feedback forms to get your CPD points, and it is only open for 30 minutes. So please don't ask us for more time. Okay, we only give 30 minutes. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending this session. Hope to see you all soon. Bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Fazila. Thank you, Prof. Farhan. Thank you, Prof. Azrina.
Okay.
Prof. Aman. Prof. Aman is our, you know, pengunjung setia, participant setia to our CDAE seminar series. Thank you, Dr. Andika. Thank you, Dr. Zamri, and all.
Okay, thank you all. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.